So, I'm sure you've seen enough Blair Witch reviews in the last couple days to know that a lot of people like to do the whole found footage thing as their intros, and I've thought about it. But I saw a whole lot of them. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. What was that? You know, they say that there's this witch that likes to attack reviewers on YouTube. I'm so scared. I just want to say sorry to my mom. I want to say sorry to Batman's mom.
Oh, come on.
Oh yeah. He doesn't have one. What do you want?
Let's watch Blair Witch, dude.
Oh. Yeah, it's over here. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Blair Witch was directed by Adam Wingard, director of the critically acclaimed horror movies You're Next and The Guest. Fun fact, I had actually never seen the original The Blair Witch Project until like 2 days ago. So I feel like I'm gonna have a much different opinion on the new Blair Witch than most people. Just know that going into this. This soft reboot acts as a sequel to the original Blair Witch Project.
What about Blair Witch 2? Book of Shadows.
No. We don't talk about that. Actually, the actual Blair Witch 2 has been X-Men Origins, and it does not exist anymore in the Blair Witch series franchise. So this is a direct sequel to the original. This one follows the brother of Heather Donahue, you know, the main girl in the original Blair Witch Project. Anyway, this takes place 15 years after. And after he gets a tip from a YouTube video, he decides, let's go back out into those woods. Let's find my sister, or at least answers to what happened to her. So he goes out there with a group of friends, which of course, there's a couple film students, because we gotta have that found footage element in there. And they go back into the Burkittsville woods to find some answers. Let me start by saying I hate what has happened to the found footage genre. It's cheap, lazy, and loud. Let me also say that this film does found footage much better than any studio-produced found footage film has done in a very long time. When this film started, I thought I was gonna hate it. Honest to God, like, the first 5 minutes, I was like, this is gonna be really dumb. Because they're these modern film students, they have this modern technology, and I thought it was gonna be, like, super gimmicky. Like, they have drones that go up into the air, they have little earpiece cameras so you get their POV. And I thought all the new technology was gonna be very, very gimmicky. Like, ooh, we're doing a new Blair Witch, so we're gonna use it with our technology, and everyone's gonna be like, wow, it's new because it's new technology, wow. But to my surprise, it was utilized pretty well, and it almost kind of reinvented how to do a found footage movie. I also really respected the way they used technology in this movie, because a lot of times when you see like technology used in film, like a new kind of camera, a new website or something, it's just shoved down your throat. But in this movie it all felt very natural, the way that they used Google, YouTube, GPS, just the new film technology. It was all used in a very natural way, and it didn't feel like it was being force-fed to us. And I will say that this film uses found footage in a much, much different way than the original used it in. At the time, the Blair Witch Project, back in 1999, had the advantage of the internet not being as big as it is today. So there were a few things that they could get away with. It was presented as though these events actually happened. And, you know, when people went to see the movie, they had it in the back of their mind, this might be real. And people sent like sympathy cards to the families of the actors involved, because they're like, oh my god, these poor kids, their poor families, what happened to them? They're missing, I need to help somebody. But it was all faked, because they had the ability to fake something like that back then. And I think that really improved the experience of that movie. Just that little gnawing thing in the back of your mind, like, oh my god, these poor kids, it feels so real. But in 2016, a movie called The Blair Witch, it can't do it. you can't. Google, Facebook, all of those things, you can't get away with something like that. And if they tried to replicate that feel of like, oh, this is so real, they wouldn't have been able to. People would have seen right through it, and it would have been very distracting. So this movie was definitely made to be a movie. And viewing this movie, it definitely feels like a movie. And because they did it in the style of a movie, and not like, this is something that really happened, there's certain things that they can get away with. Like, there's certain things that they can do in this, like fantastic things, like very supernatural things, because it's a movie. And the only downside to this, like, trying to be a movie was the characters. A lot of them felt very one-dimensional. I mean, frankly, they just felt like actors, which really took you out of the found footage aspect of the movie. I thought, at least out of everyone, it would be nice to have Heather Donahue's brother have this really cool story arc, like have him be like extremely obsessed with finding his sister, and have him go through this like very mental arc in the film. But they didn't really do much with that. They didn't really do much with a lot of the characters, which was a little disappointing. The cast was mostly unknown. I think, like, as famous as it gets was, one girl starred in the show The Following, which was really cool, and then one of the guys starred in the video game The Last of Us, which is even cooler. Some of them really shined, though. Like near the end, the main girl, like, the lead girl, she had some really good scenes, and I felt the most for her, but only in, like, the last 15-20 minutes of the film. The rest of it, they were all just kind of, these are your characters. But where this film really shined, though, was the horror department. Deportment. That's not a... no? Where this film really shined, though, was the horror department. It was one of the scariest experiences I've ever had in a theater, which is saying a lot, because I don't really get scared with movies, because I know how the sauce is made, as Kevin Smith would say it. It's just, it doesn't affect me as much. It's just like, oh, well, they did this, that's interesting. Oh, well, they did this and this, that's very interesting. But with this, it was like... it's real unnerving. Did a lot of nervous laughing while watching this movie. I laughed a lot, but not in like a this is funny way, but in a like, I'm trying not to poop my pants way. And like I said, this film was done by critically acclaimed Adam Wingard, who really likes horror. And this guy's really good at scares. He's done the movies You're Next and The Guest, and out of those two, I've only seen The Guest, but that was a very well done movie. And with this, you got to really see his horror chops. Like, he knows how to scare someone. He did the best with the tension-filled scares. Like, just the following someone in the woods, looking around, like, what's going on? And then, you're just looking into the deep, dark woods, and you see something move, or you hear something, and you're like, oh my god. What is that? Oh, I'm sorry. I just got back from the bathroom. Apparently, according to the new Blair Witch movie, that's how you re-enter the camera. Oh, and I guess that leads me to my next topic. The jump scares, the jump scares, the jump scares, the jump scares. So, Adam Wingard's really good at horror. Like, really good. Like, there were some really good scenes in this movie. But, the really frustrating thing about this was that there were some really cheap jump scares in this movie. I don't think there's anything cheaper you can do in a horror movie than a jump scare. But like a really dumb jump scare, like one that doesn't have anything to do with anything. Like every single jump scare in this movie was someone entering the camera and you're like, ah! With a sound effect. It was so bad. It was like very cheap and very dumb and very lame. Like this movie did very well with horror. I don't think it needed the very cheap and stupid jump scares. Like I would expect that from something lesser than this movie, but this movie did really well with a lot of things, and I can't tell you how mad I am that jump scares exist in this movie. And there were a lot. Like if it was like 2 or 3, I'd go, okay, fine, it's a modern horror movie. But there was like a solid 10 jump scares in this movie that were all ridiculous, that all had nothing to do with anything. It was just very stupid and very dumb, and it was just enough to make me lower the score on this movie. Like, that's how bad the jump scares were in this film. It was ridiculous. Because, like, startling someone is something very easy to do. Having a loud noise to make someone jump is something it's simple. It's very easy. There's no craft in that. You just throw in a sound effect, and you throw in a scream, and We got him. That must mean we're spooky because we made someone move. It's a natural thing that happens to people when they hear a loud noise. Gotcha! It's just ridiculous and dumb. The biggest criticism that I've seen on this movie was that it was too much like the original. What? Now having seen both of them, remember, I had not seen the original before seeing this movie. But having now seen the original, I gotta say, they're both very enjoyable movies, but in extremely different ways. Yes, the new one follows a similar structure, but that's only because it's the same location. It's the same location with the same mythology, so like a few of the things are still going to happen. But the thing about this new one is it delves more into it. It has more going on. And I mean, it's a soft reboot. Come on, it's a sequel in the Blair Witch franchise. You can't get upset that it retreads a few of the same plot lines. But I mean, I guess it's, very uncommon for a sequel to do something like that. Super uncommon for a sequel to have a similar plot line, similar characters, similar settings, similar events happen, and still be a good movie. Just can't happen, I guess. Doesn't exist. Doesn't go down. There's no way to pay homage to an original without it being bad. Oh well. Now the original is a very, very good character piece. Because they didn't have that big of a budget, it was just these three kids in the woods, getting lost in the woods, and you watch the decline of their mental stability. And it feels real. And that's what the original was. It was this very, very well-developed character piece. But because we can't make it that real, just because we can't have it in the back of people's minds that this actually happened, they went all out in the horror aspect. And they did a fine job at it. They did a damn good job at the horror aspect of this movie. I really don't think it should be criticized for being too much like the original. Because, I mean, really, it's not. It's a much different movie just set in the same universe. You shouldn't be upset about that. And I guess I had the convenience of not having seen the original before seeing this new one, and, not having the nostalgia that most people have for the original. But watching both of them, I think they're both really good movies. Just this one is a better horror movie than the first one. The 2016 Blair Witch is not a perfect movie, but it's a horror movie that really fulfills its scares. If I went to go see a comedy and I laughed my ass off, but thought some of the characters were iffy, I'd still say that's a really good comedy movie because it did its job. It got me to laugh. This one got me scared. It did its job. It's a really good popcorn flick. See this with like a few people, and see it in a crowded theater, because there's nothing better than seeing this movie with like an audience reaction. I've seen this movie twice now. That's how much I enjoyed this movie. And last night when I saw it for the second time, there was a woman 2 chairs over from us, and there was one scare. It wasn't even a jump scare, it was just a good scare. She was screaming in her chair, like those audience reaction videos that you see for like something shitty like Paranormal Activity, and someone like throws their popcorn in the air and screams a little bit? Yeah, this lady was that lady, and it was fucking great. Another reason to see this in theaters is for the sound design. You felt like you were in those woods, man. You can hear like the little wind passing birds, you could hear branches, you could hear just like every little noise. They're cooking out with little hot dogs, and you could hear the little like wee that you hear from a hot dog when it's done, when it's time to eat it. And it's just, sound design was very good. Also set design, like the production designer did a very good job. The original Blair Witch came out, and they had like the murder house thing. People went to that house and they took out chunks of it, and it just became a very dangerous place to go to because it was missing so many pieces. So the city just like demolished that building, so it's not there anymore. When I was watching this movie, I was like, oh my god, they found the house again. They filmed in the same house for the ending. No, they rebuilt it. They made it look exactly like the original house and still made it look like it was this old, grimy, abandoned building. And they did such a good job with it, and it has to be praised for it. Like, they did a very good job with what they tried to do. Sound design was great, set design was great, special effects were great. It's much better than people are giving it credit for, and I'm going to give Blair Witch an 8 out of 10. Seriously, go support this movie while it's in theaters. It might not be like a movie to own. Like, I don't really see myself sitting at home wanting to watch it on TV, like on a small screen, but see it with that audience. People just having this collected experience of being terrified. Go experience that. Experience that sound design. That noise, just go see this movie because it's not doing so hot at the box office right now, and it really deserves to be. Don't listen to a lot of the critics. Look at me. I'm a guy who reviews movies, and I'm saying don't listen to the critics. But on this one, I feel like so many people are just so stuck on the original one, and they don't want a new one, and I understand that. But this one is a decent movie as its own movie, so go check it out, please. Okay, so you can go ahead and leave now if you want to leave. I'm gonna just ramble a little bit. Anyway, check out our other videos. We do have Slacker Gaming up and running. And if you've gotten this far in the video, that means you like watching these, right? I just want to say thank you. Thank you for getting this far in the video. Thank you for enjoying us as a channel. It helps a lot to have at least a couple viewers. So, like, I don't like getting mushy on things like this, but seriously, if you've stuck with us this long, you're a good person. Thank you for supporting this little thing that we're doing. We're working on a lot of big things in the background. It's gonna take a little while for those things to be out. But, thanks for being there for us. Thanks for sharing videos. Thanks for discussing things with me. It makes me feel good when someone says, "Hey, Khalil, I went to go see that movie because I watched one of your videos." Like, that feels awesome. That feels really cool. And I want to seriously say thank you for that. I know it's a really weird video to put this at the end of, but it's just something I really want to tell you guys. Thank you. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And, as always, watch movies, my friends.